Hello Science Alliance. Hello, I am Lara. This is Bit of Science. I have been streaming free live lessons into the internet like this for 5 years. So hello, welcome. It's actually the second Oceans lesson. You don't need to have seen the first Oceans lesson. I am aware that my job is sort of busking basically. So you have to be able to find me at any time and just get involved. So welcome. Last week we looked at sort of space and why planet Earth actually has oceans. This week we are on planet Earth and we're going to look at the oceans of planet Earth. Yeah, quite a lot of this. This is like a course for all ages. I'm not going to teach you for an exam or anything, but I have been looking at what you need to know if you want to do marine science at IGCSE. And loads of this is on that exam that we're doing today. So, first question, I've got my really big posh fancy globe. How many oceans are there? I actually didn't know this. I'm trained to teach physics. Why am I supposed to know this? Have a look at this big fancy globe. And it's quite hard, it will be quite hard for you to tell, even though this globe is big and fancy, because we've got bits like this bit here, right? I mean, you've got to get in really close to see that there's a gap between that bit of land and that bit of land. There wasn't always, more of that later. But so that's the Arctic Ocean up there, right? And it is technically connected to the Pacific Ocean here. So how many oceans do you think there are? Going down here like this. There's Antarctica down there. Little gap. Do you know this already? This is on the marine science specification. The answer is there's one. There's just one massive, what they call the world ocean. It is all totally connected. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Yeah, it's basically just an ocean with little bits of land plopped into it. I'm going to put a couple of facts on the board. Some of you will know this and some of you won't. I don't know how you remember this unless you work with this sort of stuff every day. 71% of Earth is ocean. I did know that. I didn't know, actually, I'd forgotten, that 97% of all the water on Earth is in the ocean, right? So the ocean is normal, basically. It's the land where we are that's the weird bit. Okay, so one of the things that you need to know if you're doing a marine science exam, and also just for funsies, because it's important, is you need to know the names of the 5 oceans and where they are. Let's set up an activity and then I'll just give you sort of little quiz simple questions so that we can remember the names. But also I'm going to teach you a song. But we're going to do the activity while we make sure that we know the names of the oceans and where they are. What you need to do is get mugs. It would be good if they were the same. They don't have to be the same, but you need really the same amount of water in each one. So I've got cold water in one. There's some ice cubes floating in it. That's not great, but you know, what are you going to do? We're not actually trying to cure any kind of disease here, are we? I'm going to let us get away with being a little bit unprecise about this. So I've got some water that I've just boiled, actually. If you're using really hot water, then be careful, children. Get an adult to do this for you. I don't know why I'm saying in that voice. It is important. I've been stirring this and splashing boiling water on myself through the last couple of lessons. Is that the same? A little bit more warm water, maybe? That's now a bit too much hot water. I'm going to pour a little bit back. Yeah, no funsy time. Just be careful, will you? Don't just splash boiling water around, especially not while you're holding a camera phone. There, I think that's all right. Okay, so I tell you what, just get that set up while I teach you a song, okay? 2 mugs, cold water in one of them, hot water in the other one. It doesn't have to be as hot as all that, and it doesn't have to be as cold as all that. I'm the teacher, so I'm trying to do it properly. So, if you haven't come across it, OMG, I'm so happy that I get to teach you this. There's a song on the internet, the Science Alliance, who are just the people who watch these lessons, told me about it, and it's brilliant because it's ridiculously catchy. It lists the 5 oceans, and it also lists them in order from biggest to smallest. And you need to know, if you were ever writing an exam about the ocean, also just because you live on planet Earth and it's interesting, that the Pacific Ocean is the largest. So if you learn this song, you will know that. Here's the song. If you want to look it, don't look it up now, because watch me, I'll just sing it for you. But it's called the 5 Oceans Song, and it's by Hopscotch. So go and listen to that after this, okay? But while you're getting your water set up, I will sing it for you, you lucky things. It goes like this. Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic, Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic. That's it, really. Maybe there's verses that are clever, but I can't remember. You just need to remember that bit. Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic. So the Pacific is the largest, Atlantic is the second largest, and then it goes down to the others. It's good, isn't it? Right, you 5 marks at GCSE, you're welcome. Okay, hopefully you've got these mugs set up now. What we need to do is put the same amount of salt or sugar into both of the mugs, give it a stir, and we just need to keep doing that, adding a little bit more salt and sugar and a little bit more salt and sugar until it disappears in one of them. Okay? Sorry. Facebook messages flash up on my phone when I'm live, and Tamara's just sent me a message going, Lara, that is the least catchy song ever. All right, abuse me on the Facebook comments so at least helps the algorithm, okay? Not privately. Put salt or sugar into both of these. I'm going to start with 1 teaspoon in each and then stir it. And then if you just keep putting more and more in, you've got to put the same amount into each mug, and the salt in one of them will disappear, okay? I'm just going to put 2 teaspoons in. Yeah, do you know what? I was faffing around in the Facebook lessons with putting in a bit more and a bit more and a bit more. I'm just going to stick to it and stir it. If you could stir it, because it's good if we do exactly the same to both mugs, what do you think is going to happen? By the way, is the important bit. What do you think is going to happen? You can get 2 teaspoons, stick them in the mugs, and stir like that, because I've got some questions that don't need you to be able to hear me. I'm going to use these little wooden sticks because the sound of teaspoons scraping against mugs is the worst thing ever. So while you're stirring, have a look at this, okay? This is just a map of the oceans of planet Earth. So some of you will know this already and you'll be ready to move on, but we've got to start from where everybody is, okay? So number 1, just study where the oceans are on this map, please, because some of you might be really interested in the oceans and that's why you're here and you're like, well, this is obvious. And some of you, maybe like me, won't have given this an awful lot of thought before. So number 1 is just take in the oceans on this map. You see them? Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic. And next question, what ocean is this? There's a big bit of water here that does not seem to be labelled. What is that ocean? And if you're like, yeah, Lara, I know all this. All right, seas are basically small oceans. How many seas can you see? And can you name any? So what if you were looking at this map, say you're new to planet Earth, which one of those would you think of were the main seas? And yeah, can you name any seas? When you think of seas, which seas pop up? I am, sorry for the noise, awful, isn't it? I'm in the background stirring away at these mugs. If your salt or sugar disappears in both mugs, then put more in, okay? I should have said don't put too much water in each of them, because we want the salt or sugar to dissolve. And it'll use up a lot more salt or sugar if you use loads of water. Sorry, a bit late for that, isn't it? Have you done that? Are you feeling comfortable with where these oceans are? I'll move on because we're just gonna keep talking about this. So what is this ocean? Well, this might seem really obvious, but we get really used to thinking of the world as being this rectangular shape, right? Because this is how we see all the maps. But of course, in fact, Earth is more or less spherical. So you have to imagine these bits are joined up at the back. That bit of ocean isn't labelled. It's just the Pacific Ocean. It's really big. It's the biggest one. It's at the start of the song. So I was like, let's just get a little feel for the oceans. I don't know if this is going to help you. So Moana, here we are, like the islands of Polynesia here, in the Pacific Ocean. The Titanic sinking, that was quite a big event, wasn't it? That was sailing from England to America, and it sank halfway, so in the Atlantic Ocean, about here. And this is India, this big triangular country sticking out, which I thought was quite useful if you wanted to remember where the Indian Ocean was. India is basically pointing at the Indian Ocean, so good, isn't it? Right, and the Pacific Ocean is the biggest, yeah, because Pacific, Atlantic, yeah, you get it. Just to prove to you, this is actually, if you look up what you need to know to do a marine science exam, IGCSE, then you need to know this. They've put them in the wrong order. They need to listen to that song. Okay, so while you're finishing off stirring your salt and your sugar, and putting more in if you need to, because ideally it would be good if it dissolved in one. What ocean is that? I'm just going to go through it quickly, just so we can quickly get this into our heads. Come on, what ocean is that? Indian Southern Arctic. You got it? So that is the Atlantic. That's the chilly one in between America and Europe, where the Titanic sank, among other things. What about this one? Pacific. Is that annoying anyone yet? Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern. Are you still stirring? That's the Indian Ocean, because India is pointing at it, right? This one, what's that one down there? The one that goes around Antarctica. Very, very windy, this one. That is the Southern Ocean. And that one at the top, it should be the Northern Ocean, shouldn't it? But it's not. With where all the oceans are. Having a little look at my water, and I think pretty much all my salt is dissolved in each one. If you're just joining me live, the exciting activity that I'm doing in the background is that I've got a small amount of hot water and a small amount of cold water, and I've put the same amount of salt into each, and I'm stirring it. So if you want to join in, do it, or you can just watch mine. Wowzers, guys, what will happen? So a teaspoon of salt each one, I think. Have a go at that then. Remember that the oceans are listed in the song in order of size. Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic. Oh, I've done it. I've ruined it. I've gone too far with the salt. I've put too much in. You can hear I've turned to panic sloshing now. Is that really difficult, or can you do it? Again, you'll be in all different stages with this. We are going to move on to some more details. So if you're thinking, too easy for me, then yeah, don't worry. We're going to get to stuff that you don't know. You done that? Okay, Pacific, really big one. Atlantic, in between Europe and North America. Indian, being pointed at by this triangular country here, India. Southern, down in the south. And Arctic, right at the top. Ah, Lara, that was too easy. All right, have we go at this then? Because Europeans, right, back in the day, were all charging around Earth, taking over everyone else's country, like drawing maps, handing them out, like, here's the map, you're welcome. And Europeans put Europe in the middle of the map because, you know, because they were drawing it. But Europe doesn't have to be in the middle of the map. This is a perfectly reasonable map of the world, which I think gives the Pacific Ocean the credit it's due. So I haven't changed the amount of stuff on this map. I've just shifted it along a bit. Okay, you ready? So the biggest one is the Pacific, yeah? Pacific. I love this map because it really shows you how absolutely massive the Pacific Ocean is compared to the continents even. B, well, that triangular country is India, right? Pointing at the Indian Ocean, so that's the Indian Ocean. C is up where the Arctic is, where the polar bears live, so that's up there. D, it's a bit confusing now, isn't it? Because that is still in between America and Europe. So that's the Atlantic Ocean. And down here in the south is the Southern Ocean. Lara, that was too easy. All right, chums, last one. Have a look at this. Because there's no such thing really as up or down in the universe. The universe doesn't care about up and down and the words north and south that we've just made up. So again, this is a perfectly reasonable map of the world. Can you name the oceans if the map is upside down and shifted along a bit? Stop staring. So I'm hoping by now you can definitely spot the Pacific Ocean. And I think the Indian Ocean's okay as well. The others might be a tad confusing. You ready? Should we go through it? So Pacific is the really big one. Pacific. It's right there in the start of the song. So that's there. Atlantic is, again, just in between like South America, North America, and Africa and Europe. So that's over there. The Indian one is the one that India is pointing at. The Southern Ocean is now on my map confusingly at the top in the north. Sorry about that. So the one right at the bottom is the Arctic. Woof! Right. I'm just going to show you my face because that was a lot of screen. I missed you. Okay, so we need to talk about the difference between oceans and seas because, well, just because learning stuff is fun. I don't want to keep banging on about the IGCSE specification. It has been very useful when it comes to planning these lessons. So, have you heard about the seven seas? Lots of catchy songs about sailing the seven seas. It sounds great. There are loads more than seven seas. There's like 50 seas. They sort of used to be seven oceans. I guess we used to use the oceans. The oceans used to be a lot more important, really, didn't they, for travelling around? Because if you wanted to get from one continent to the other, you had to go by ship, and it's where all the battles were fought. So it used to be probably more important to talk about where you were in the ocean. So they used to talk about the South Pacific and the North Pacific, and the North Atlantic and the South Atlantic. So there used to be seven oceans, but not seven seas. There's about 50 seas. Let's put you down here again. So seas are basically, just little bits of water. Some of them are completely surrounded by land, and some of them are just sort of being gently hugged by the land, really. So if you were looking at this map and you were looking for small bits of ocean, you might have looked at this bit in the middle, or that bit over there, or that bit over there, or there's that bit there. We'll talk about some of these. A lot of them are named just for convention. So Hudson Bay is confusingly a sea. It just is called Hudson Bay. This bit down here might have stuck out to you. That's the Gulf of Mexico. Again, it is a sea, but it's called the Gulf of Mexico. Another bay, the Bay of Bengal, very, very famous next to India down here. The IGCSE Marine Science, which I'm going to basically have by the end of the course, they actually mention a couple that they want their students to definitely know about. I don't know why they picked these ones, but you have to know that seas are smaller areas of water, sometimes within oceans, often partially enclosed by land. And then they've given us some examples: the Bering Sea in the Pacific Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. I'm so pleased that we get to look at the Bering Sea because it's probably my favourite. So the Bering Sea is up there. Well, actually, it's like over there on the far. That's the Bering Sea. We need the other map again. Middle. That's better. So now the Bering Sea is there. I have ended up learning about the Bering Sea quite a lot in loads of theory lessons because I've learned about the Bering Land Bridge. So this tiny little bit of water here between Asia and North America, throughout Earth's history, has quite often been frozen, which has made what's called the Bering Land Bridge, which has allowed awesome animals to walk from one continent to the other. So like horses, woolly mammoths, loads of the animals that these continents have in common, it's because they used to be able to just stroll across it. So that's the Bering Sea. And the Mediterranean Sea is over there. That is getting quite confusing now, actually. So let's wiggle the map. There we go. This is how we're used to looking at it. I only just learned Mediterranean. It's called Mediterranean because this is where Italy and Greece are, and in ye olden times, in like those ancient civilizations, Mediterra meant Middle Earth. So this was like the centre of the world if you were an ancient Greek or Roman. I know, interesting, isn't it? Right, we've got to move on. Finally, we're going to work out why I've been swilling salt in mugs behind you this entire time. So we need to talk about salinity. Oh, I learned something that really made me happy while I was reading about salinity. Salinity means basically how salty water is. So the Pacific Ocean has typical salinity, bog standard salinity, and it turns out salinity is measured in parts per thousand. I didn't know that. So parts per thousand means like, it could be anything. If you got 1,000 grams of Pacific seawater, then it would mean like how many grams were salt and how many grams were water. Or you could imagine like a bucket of seawater from the Pacific Ocean and just split it into thousands. And if you did that, then it turns out the salinity of the Pacific Ocean is roughly 33 parts per 1,000. So if you imagine, I've got, did I bother to do 1,000 squares here? I think I did. I think that's how much I like you. So I've filled up, 967 parts, if this was like a bucket of Pacific seawater, would be water, and then the other 33 parts would be salt. But what I didn't know, which has delighted me, is that the symbol for parts per 1,000, how you measure salinity, how many parts per thousand is salt, is like a percentage sign with an extra zero on it. I'd never thought about this. So, you know percentages, right? You know, like 1%. I'm writing backwards and it's tricky to do percentage signs backwards. Is it that? Yeah, that looks right. So I know that 1% means like 1 out of 100. So if it was like 1% salt, it would be 99 parts water and 1% salt, for example. But I didn't know that the percentage sign actually means parts per 100. So 1% is 1 part in 100. So parts per 1,000 is parts per 100, but you add another little zero after. I don't know if it is a zero. Another little circle there. Let's get in it. So the Pacific Ocean is 33 parts per 1,000. 33 parts salt, 967 parts water. Anyway, that's just me nerding out. Very happy to have learned that. Never going to unlearn that. Let's look at these other seas, because the Pacific Ocean, okay, is just kind of your regular saltiness. We have to know, apparently, that the Baltic Sea has a low salinity and the Red Sea has a high salinity. Now, I reckon most adults in your house would know that, but maybe they wouldn't know why. I did not know why. Finally, we get to look at these mugs and find out why. Before we do that, it would be very boring to just tell you where the Baltic Sea and the Red Sea is. Excuse me. So I'm going to do my finding music whilst scanning you over this map, and you can tell me where the Baltic Sea and the Red Sea are, okay? Tell me when you see them. Oh, the Caspian Sea, by the way. Not a sea, a lake, fresh water. Did you get them? It doesn't matter if you didn't get them. I am going to show you them right now. So the Baltic Sea is up here, in between sort of Sweden and Finland. And the Red Sea is down here in between like Egypt and Sudan and Saudi Arabia and Yemen. There you go. That one. Yemen, sorry. What did I just call it? I don't know. So yeah, have a look at your mugs, right? If you've done this activity. If you haven't, then good. You can look at my mug. Someone has to. So this mug is warm. And this mug is cold. Oh, the same amount of salt went into both those mugs. And it's roughly the same amount of water. What do you see? Is that what you were expecting? So the cold water mug, we've got loads of salt left over. And the warm water mug, we've got hardly any salt left over. So we looked at last week how water is really good at dissolving things. That's one of the reasons why water is so good if you want to be alive. Because it dissolves particles in your body, and that's what allows chemical reactions to happen, like all the little particles in your body to move around. But not all water dissolves things the same. So cold water doesn't dissolve as much salt into it as hot water does. And I've got a fantastic PowerPoint special effect to explain why. So here's the Red Sea. The Red Sea is very salty. And as you can hopefully tell from these pictures, the Red Sea is also very nice and warm. It's in a warm area of the world. So here's what happens. So salt, well, you can get lots of different kinds of salt. And there are lots of different kinds of salt dissolved in the sea. But the salt that you is called sodium chloride. It's particles, like atoms of sodium and atoms of chlorine, all bonded together. But the sodium atoms are a little bit more positive and the chlorine atoms are a little bit more negative. So this is what a crystal of salt sort of is arranged like, okay? So what has come along last week, our water particles have got one positive side and one negative side. And water particles are always moving around, okay? They're always moving. They've got energy. But cold water, it doesn't have that much energy. So it's moving around and it bashes into the salt crystal. And then some salt crystals, sort of, you know, they break apart and they disappear into the water. And that's what dissolving is. But the cold water, it's just a little bit. Whereas hot water, it's got loads more energy. That's why it hurts you when you touch it. Those particles are all over the place. So they smash into the salt crystals and break it all apart. So, yeah, salt dissolves better in hot water, as hopefully you have seen from this activity. Now, it turns out the south of the Red Sea is particularly warm, But it's very salty because it's warm, so it can dissolve a lot of salt in it, which our activity just showed. But the other reason it's really salty is that you've got a lot of evaporation. So particularly in the north, this area of the world is very, very dry, very deserty. So you get loads of evaporation. So when everything's very dry, water particles evaporate into air, right? In fact, you could do this if you like. If you get your warm water cup, if you have dissolved a load of salt or sugar in it, pour it onto a plate at the end of this lesson and then just leave it. And you will find that eventually all the water particles evaporate. They just go into the atmosphere, but the salt will remain. See, not only is it warm, so you've got salt in the first place, but also really dry. So you're like losing the water parts, but the salt parts are staying, so it's more salt. Does that make sense? More salty. Should we move on to the Baltic Sea? Here we go. So the Baltic Sea is not salty. The Baltic Sea is up here. Now it is cold. You might have heard the phrase, "Oh, it's Baltic out there." That expression comes from the Baltic Sea being chilly. But actually, that's not really why it's not very salty. I didn't know this. Turns out the Baltic Sea has got loads of rivers flowing into it, like freshwater rivers. So it's got a bit of salt water coming in, but it's not that much in contact with the ocean, and it's constantly getting topped up with fresh water. It turns out, I'm throwing a lot of words at you. It's called brackish. Brackish water is a bit salty, but not very salty. Brackish water is not as salty as the sea, but it's not as fresh water as a river. It sounds like a terrible place to live. Like no creatures have evolved to live in brackish water. What ends up happening is all the marine animals that like the sea live in the saltiest bit, and all the freshwater animals live near the freshwater bit. But yeah, it's brackish is a good word. Right, whew. So we have looked at the oceans from a side-to-sidey point of view. What we need to do just before we finish and do a fun quiz that involves drawing ice cream is we need to look at the oceans from uppy downy, because if we're mapping the oceans, I thought we need to give just a quick nod to the fact that the oceans have got layers going down. Now, this is where I have to show off a little bit, okay? You might have even made a model of the ocean layers before. There's a lot of cool websites online saying, make a model of the ocean. And what you might have done is you might have put like different liquids into a jar, and some of them float on top of other ones. Or you might have cut out some cardboard and some string and like drawn some pictures of fish and sunshine at the top. And you might have coloured in like black on the bottom or something to show that there's not much light on the bottom. That's all fine, right? That's all fine. But in science, a model is something that helps you understand how something works. So like a globe, a map isn't a very good model really of planet Earth. A globe is a better model because it's sort of the same shape, it spins and Earth spins, this one's tilted and Earth is tilted, so that makes this quite a good model, helps us to understand what the Earth is like. This one would be a not good model because like the water on Earth is liquid and this is hard, and because it sort of squeaks and Earth doesn't squeak. So, right, I want you to imagine, true story, you're in your kitchen, it's lockdown, it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and you've said that you'll teach some kids a lesson about the oceans, and you're trying to work out what you can use, like what household objects you can use to really teach them about the ocean layers, about the fact that the oceans are sunny at the top, so sunlight gets through to the ocean layer at the top, and that's where the plants grow and the fish thrive. And then the bottom layer is really, really dark and no sunlight gets down there. You rip open your cupboards and you manage to find a torch and some jam. What are you going to do, kids? Like I say, true story. I'm so proud of this model. I don't think this is anywhere else on the internet as far as I can tell. I made this one up all by myself, and that's why I'm showing off to you about it right now. So I've given you this little picture here. We'll talk about this more in later lessons, but I thought while we're mapping the oceans, let's have a quick chat about it. So these are the posh names, like the sun would be up here, this is air. The epipelagic is often called like the sunlight zone, isn't it? And then under that, you've got the twilight zone where a little bit of light gets. And then under that, you've got the midnight zone where there's hardly any light at all. And then you can see you get down to the abyss where it's all blackness. How are you going to model the ocean layers using a torch and some jam? I'm going to pull my blind down so that we get a better effect. We came up on Facebook when we did this yesterday. People decided that a Theatre of Science like jam lava lamp needs to happen. It works better, I suppose, if you've got a full jar of jam, but it's totally fine if you haven't got a full jar of jam. Right, put my torch on. I'm going to order, I've got 4 jars of jam. I'm going to order them from my favourite to my least favourite. What can I say? I'm just a big jam fan. Here we go. Right. So maybe you've worked it out if you're doing this with me. Sticking you back into my Lego phone holder, sorry. So if you haven't got a full jar of jam, then you can just shine a torch through the bit that you've got. I think that's a beautiful model for the ocean. But because I'm the teacher and I knew what I was going to do and I've managed to get full jars of jam, I'm going to turn it upside down and put the torch on top like that. Come on! Is that a good model for the ocean or what? So you can see it actually does kind of naturally split into layers, right? So this is my homemade quince jam. We've got the sunshine at the top here, and you can see that the sunlight penetrates quite far into the jam. So this would be the sunlight zone, and then it gets a little bit sort of hazy. So I guess that would be the twilight zone. And then further down here, you get the midnight zone, and right down here, you've hardly got any light at all. I don't think that works as well as raspberry jam. Bon Maman raspberry jam is doing a much better job of showing us the abyss, I think. You really can't see any torchlight right down there, okay? But my favourite one is the marmalade. I'm so happy that I've found people that I get to nerd out with in this way, by the way. Thank you. Because I feel like the little bits of orange sort of look like jellyfish. It's good, isn't it? Really sunny. Twilight all the way down. This one just amused me. This is my homemade elderberry jam, which no life on earth if my elderberry jam was the ocean, because there's just no, yeah, it doesn't work. But that's good, isn't it? I could just look at that all day. I find that so satisfying. Anyway, we have to move on. Very quickly, I thought we can't talk about mapping the ocean without talking about the Mariana Trench. Everybody knows, right, that the Mariana Trench is the very, very deepest natural part of the ocean. It's about 11,000 meters deep. But do you know where it is? Could you pin the Mariana Trench on the planet? Could you? Give you a clue. It's somewhere over here. The natural deepest bit of the ocean is coming in fast. It's right there, see? So if you go up from the pointy bit of Australia and then across from India, there you go, that triangular country there, then the Mariana Trench is just here. There you go, right there. Ooh, gives me the creeps just thinking about it. And the Challenger Deep is the absolute deepest bit of the Mariana Trench. There we go. About 10,100 meters. They sort of keep measuring it and they think it might be even slightly deeper then. So the temperature at the bottom is about 1 degree. But we will talk about that later when we talk about sea creatures that live in it. Oh yeah, finally I just found this picture and I thought this was quite an interesting way of pointing out that the oceans are really complicated. So this is like the layers of the ocean around the Bering Sea. The top layer of sea ice, and then you've got like sort of fresh cold water where the ice is melted, and then it's mixed, and then it's warmer, and then it's the warmest underneath that where it's salty, and then the really deep, really salty cold water. So basically, what it's supposed to be doing was to be giving us an idea of how very complicated the oceans are. And although there's one world ocean, it's all different in different parts. And now, hopefully, when next week we start to learn about how life evolved in the ocean and like prehistoric creatures that lived in the ocean and where all the living things are, then we'll have a slightly better idea of what they're dealing with. Okay, right. That is everything that I wanted to tell you about the oceans today. I have got a little quiz coming up. Well, I'm just going to ask you 4 questions. I'm going to ask you to draw a different bit of an ice cream to go with each question, and then in the end we'll see if you've got the right kind of ice cream. I will quickly do my ad because yeah, if I don't tell you how I make money, then I don't make any money, and then I can't do this job. And clearly this is the best job ever. So how this job works is everything that I do is free. I am trained actually to teach physics at secondary school, was taking a break to raise my kids in lockdown, started streaming free lessons kind of just for the glory and the Facebook likes. And then, home educators and I sort of found each other, and they didn't want me to stop and I didn't want to stop. So I started this page on this website called Coffee, and it means that you can send me £5 a month. If you like these lessons, if you are using me as a resource and you feel like the huge amount of work that I put in is worth £5 a month, then you can send me £5. And it's just worked out phenomenally well, because hopefully £5 a month from you isn't very much if you are using me. Like, I do an all ages lesson like this every week in term time. I do an IGCSE physics lesson every week, which you're very welcome to come to. And I do a Lego story show every week. There's one, if you're watching live, there's one on at 10:30 today about sleep. And I do printouts for the lessons, not the Lego show. Yeah, and it's all free. It's all stored on my website for watching on Catch Up. But yeah, £5 a month, because it's not on Zoom, so it's kind of like an infinite audience. £5 a month from all of you is enough that it makes a wage for me. It's so good. It's so good. Never in a billion years would I have thought about setting this up if it weren't for lockdown. It just sort of naturally happened. It's amazing. So if you go to my About section on YouTube, which is where you are, and you find the link to Coffee, you send me £5, and that's how I, keep feeding my children, etc. And if you sign up, I will send you nice things to say thank you. So I do write Theatre of Science magazine. I'm laughing because I very rarely get around to. It takes ages. It takes so long. If you support me and you get it, you will hopefully be able to see why it takes me so long. But if you support me on Coffee, you will be on the list and you'll just get Theatre of Science magazine the next time I write it. And I'll send you a past magazine or two to keep you going. So if you sign up with £5, you get the mould issue. It comes with a home compostable plastic bag. You can build this little tray at the back, put some food in it. Hopefully identify it. It's got a Choose Your Own Adventure and a beautiful comic. And if you support me with £6 a month, which most people do, you're absolute legends, I'll send you the Time issue as well, which has a sundial that you can craft and a beautiful comic. My husband is an illustrator, which really helps, about a woman who sold time on the streets of London until quite recently. And it's got quiz and an activity that I think I made up about Einstein's theory of relativity and how time zones work and stuff. You can support me with much like you can support me with £1 billion a month if you like, and I'll send you 3. I mean, if you supported me with £1 billion, I might send you like one of my children. But yeah, as much as if you support me with £5, then I will send you nice things. Oh, I send you. Everyone gets these rainbow glasses as well, because they're just really cool. They make you see rainbows, and a little page I wrote about how they work. Okay, that is the end of my ads. Let's do the quiz. Only to say that if you're watching live on YouTube, you'll have noticed there's no comments on YouTube, but if you want to go to my Facebook page, then there's a post at the top of my Facebook page at the moment saying, like, comment here, and I will go to it after the quiz and say hi to you. Okay, here we go. So I've got 4 questions, and I want you to draw the bit of ice cream that you think goes with the right answer. So we've got 3 boxes here. Only one of them contains completely true statements. So the first box, the Pacific Ocean is the largest. All the oceans are connected. If you think that both those things are true, draw a tub. Your ice cream is coming in a tub. The Pacific Ocean is the largest. Only the Southern and Arctic Oceans are not connected. If you think that's true, draw a bowl. The Atlantic Ocean is the largest. 97% of Earth is covered in water. If you think that both those things are true, then your ice cream is coming in a cone. I'll do it as well, because I don't know, drawing ice creams is fun. There we go. Pacific Ocean is the largest. All oceans are connected. Draw a tub. The Pacific Ocean is the largest. Only the Southern and Arctic Oceans are not connected. All the others are. Draw a bowl. The Atlantic Ocean is the largest. 97% of Earth is covered in water. Draw a cone. Let's move on. Which ocean is marked with a question mark? So you've got an upside down, flipped around map of the world here. Which ocean is marked with a question mark? In between Australia and Africa. If you think that's the Pacific Ocean, your ice cream is going to have 1 scoop. If you think it's the Indian Ocean, your ice cream is going to have 2 scoops. And if you think it's the Arctic Ocean, then your ice cream is going to have 3 scoops. You done that? Which ocean is that one there, in between Australia? Okay. Okay, moving on. What is the salinity of the Pacific Ocean? What is the salinity of the Pacific Ocean? If you think it's 33 parts per thousand, then you need to draw some sauce and some sprinkles on your ice cream. If you think that it's 33%, then you need to draw just sauce. And if you think that it's 30 grams, then you need to draw just sprinkles. What is the salinity of the Pacific Ocean? 33 parts per thousand, sauce and sprinkles. 33%, just sauce. 30 grams, just sprinkles. I'm trying to draw very quietly so you can't hear what the answer is. And the last question. Where is the Mariana Trench? Where is the Mariana Trench? If you think the Mariana Trench is in the Atlantic Ocean and between North America and Europe, then you need to draw a cherry on top of your ice cream. If you think that the Mariana Trench is in the Indian Ocean, you need to draw a flake on your ice cream. And if you think the Mariana Trench is in the Pacific Ocean, you need to draw a wafer in your ice cream. You done that? If you're bored, you can always like and subscribe, can't you? Or just put a bit more detail on your ice cream, or do both. Okay, should we go through the answer? See what ice cream we've got. Which box contains only true statements? Pacific. So the Pacific is the largest one. And yet all the oceans are connected. It's just one world ocean. So your ice cream should be coming in a tub. Which ocean is marked with question marks? That's the Indian Ocean, because that's an upside down triangular India pointing at the Indian Ocean. So your ice cream should have had 2 scoops. 2 scoops is fun to say. What is the salinity of the Pacific Ocean? Well, I was a bit mean this, because if you had 1,000 grams of Pacific seawater, then the salinity of it would be 30 grams. But salinity is measured in parts per thousand. So the answer is 33 parts per thousand. If it was 33%, that would mean that for every 67 parts water, there were 33 parts salt, which would be a lot. So yeah, it's 33 parts per thousand. So you should have had sauce and sprinkles. Oh yeah, I put this into, I just got a new coffee support. That's incredibly sweet. Thank you so much. I just put this in to remind ourselves that salinity of the Pacific Ocean, right? You imagine 1,000 squares, it'd be 967 watery squares and 33 salty squares. Never thought I was going to say the phrase salty squares in these lessons. And the symbol for parts per thousand is a percentage sign with another little circle on the end. Cute. Where is the Mariana Trench? A is where the Titanic sank. B is Indian Ocean. It was C. C is where the Mariana Trench is. So your ice cream should have had a wafer. Okay, I'm going to flip you around again. There you go. So here's my beautiful ice cream. I'm going to put a cherry on top as well, just to confuse things, because it just looks like it needs a cherry. Yeah, fixed it. All right, you lot, that is the end of the lesson. But if you're watching live, I'm going to go over to my Facebook page and see if anyone has said hello, because I love it when you say hello. Okay, I can click away the ocean song now. I suppose I can click away the PowerPoint as well. So next week, we're going to be doing evolution in the ocean, how life began in the ocean and then evolved out of the ocean, and then in some cases evolved back into the ocean again. And then I think the week after that is when I'm going to ask you to get a red cabbage in, which is big for me. Red cabbage isn't really a household object, is it? I wouldn't normally do that, but yeah, if you see a red cabbage on your travels, like this week or next, that would be quite useful for these lessons. Right, where is my Facebook page? Here it is. Pacific, Atlantic, comments! All right, Joyful Maths with Ruth, what are you doing? Oh, wish we were able to do this today. Fine. I trust that you're doing something fun. All comments, let's have a look. We will definitely catch up on replay. Hello, Joyful Maths with Ruth. Hello, Frank and Effie. Bella's looking at the upside down map. Upside down, like just sort of sticking her head upside down. That's cheating. But then again, you could probably still do that if you were taking an exam, wouldn't you? Yeah, that's getting a lot of love. Oh, hello, Aurelia. She managed to get the oceans named, even with the map upside down. Yes! She wants to draw some ocean animals now. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that is a good idea. Maybe we could do some. Maybe we could do some drawing of ocean animals. I don't know. It's not my main skill in this life. Hello, Martin children. They say it was an amazing lesson, and I don't want to finish it. I've got good news for you, because this is the bit where I just chat for sort of. This is the bit where I chat for 20 minutes going, I've got to go because I've got my Lego story to do. I've got to go because it's near a Lego story. I've really got to go. And then I don't go. Hello, Abba. She's going to watch them on catch up as she's off to the theatre with Daddy to see my neighbour Totoro. Oh, I'm so jealous. My friend went to see that and said it was like the best thing that they had ever seen. Tamara, you still don't know how to comment. Right, Tamara, you're on Facebook Messenger. You need to go to Facebook. Yeah, it's not that easy to get to be honest. If you're on Facebook, you just need to search Theatre of Science and then click it, and then it's the comment at the very top, okay? Hello, Imogen. Nanny is helping this morning and is loving it. Ah, nice. Hello, Nanny. Imogen, say hi to Nanny for me. All right, Magnus, watching live again. We were train spotting this last week, so had to watch on catch up. Oh, I hope you saw a good one. Zach and Aya. Your blackberry jam was too dark or dense. Next time we do this, I'm going to have to... It was quite confusing saying, please bring a jar of jam, as full as you can. And I suppose I'm just now going to have to say brackets, not purple. Something about purple jam, just... It doesn't fulfill our needs. Hello, Ruben. He would like to know if there's any life at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Oh, that is such a good question. Do you know, we've done a whole lesson on the Mariana Trench. I don't know. I mean, like, there'll be something. I remember in our Mariana Trench lesson, the animals of the Mariana Trench, like, not as interesting as you would think. Because you sort of want there to be like loads of ancient ichthyosaurs, right, that have not been discovered, but it's so dark down there that it's just not very conducive to cool living things being around. I say cool, I don't know, I can't remember. I'm sure there's some little, I don't know, I'm a physics teacher. I'll have to remind myself before we look at the Mariana Trench. I'll try and... Surely it will come up in one of these lessons, won't it? I must admit, I haven't looked into it yet. All right, Lyra and Anya and Eli. Hello. There is an episode on oceans on Brainchild, but it's not as good as yours. Get away with you. Thanks, that's kind. Hello, Bella and Emma. Super excited for the term. I know you are an ocean nerd. I'm very worried about this. Well, under the sea, I don't know of the ocean. Excited on your map today, and we can confirm that the sea is very salty here. That has blown my mind slightly. That's so weird. You're literally in Abu Dhabi right now doing this with me, and I'm in the UK. That is wild, isn't it? Technology is amazing. The sea is very there you go. Well, I'm glad that you're here to confirm. My mum's mind is blown over the link between the heat of the oceans and the salinity. I know, right? Hello, Summer. Oh, what causes waves? What causes waves, and are they different in different oceans? Do you know? This is a really big part. I'm gonna get the coffee in there because some people are starting to support me on coffee, and that is incredibly sweet and lovely. Yeah. What causes the waves? This is quite a big part of the marine science IGCSE. It's not a part that I'm going to talk about. Like, obviously I had to really choose which bits to pick, and I thought we'll go more like into the oceans. So we're not going to do this, but yeah, it's a really good question, because people sort of think of the waves and the tides as being the same thing, and they're not. So the tide is the sea coming in and coming out and coming in and coming out. That's caused by the moon and the earth. But the waves are actually caused by the wind. Yeah, I mean, you could probably do it right now. We could literally do an activity to model it. If you get your water in your cup and you blow on it, then it makes waves. That is largely what causes the waves. And are they different in different oceans? Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, I'm assuming that they will be because the winds all around Earth are very different. We did that. We've got a whole module on my website called Weather and Climate, and we did look at the oceans and the wind around the world in that one. So there might be a bit in there. We are loving drawing the picture version of the quiz. Oh, good. Yeah, I need more stuff to draw pictures of, but ice creams are just the most funnest things to draw. If you think of anything else that is easy to draw and has different bits, get in touch. My 6-year-old said, whoa, did she make this quiz? It's great. Ah, Mel 6-year-old. Thank you. Yeah, I did. There's no AI here. Not because I don't know how to use it, just because I don't need it. So yeah, everything that you see actually I made up myself, apart from the Amazing Ocean song. Hello, Caitlin. Hello, Saoirse. Hi, Teddy. Second lesson ever. Yes, come on, Teddy. That is the biggest compliment. Coming once is very cool. I'm very glad that you found me. Coming twice is like, actually enjoyed the first one enough to come back. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, Victoria, you have learned about percentages with Joyful Maths with Ruth this week. There you go. There you go. It's good that it all fits together. Hello, CJ and Oscar. All right, you two. Hello, Freya and Hannah. And there's a reply. No way, Hannah. Wow, that is a really good ice cream. That's amazing. Hannah is showing me a picture of an ice cream that they drew. Wow, it's not sprinkles as well. Oh yeah, I see. So it's the right answer, and it's got, I'm going to show everyone, it's really cool. Look at that. How good is that? So I can see that you got 100% correct, and also, yeah. We should have done my ice creams different flavours now. That's what we can do next week. Hello, Imogen and Ophelia. All right, you two. Happy Science Day. Hiya, Toby. Hello. Oh, Robin and Hissy, Robin's pet flammable toy snake. Super excited to be back and learning about oceans. Oh, thanks, Robin. Hello, you. All right, Sophie and Emily and Katie and Hannah, up early enough for you 2 weeks in a row. Whew, well done. If it's okay, because I will start to get later and later. You've noticed, like, someone once joked that my first lessons, it's sort of like a first date. Like I've always like dried my hair and I'm pretty much on time. And I feel like this week you're sort of starting to see my true colours. And by next week, I'll be like 10 minutes late and you can have an extra 10 minutes of being asleep. We loved our second, oh, look at you, Callie and Corey, coming back for the second lesson as well. Thank you so much. That was really lovely. Looking forward to the next one. Yeah, me too. Hello, Charlotte and Mum. Loving this lesson. Aww. All right, Malcolm. The mini Foxleys are joining in live for the very first time. Oh, they even got up early for your lesson. So personally in awe. Yes, that would be a major event in my house as well. The Ocean Song is one we regularly sing, along with the 7 Continent songs. Yes, the 7 Continent songs is very good. Yes, I agree. I am also a big fan of that. All right, Tegan. How were ocean plants and corals created? Whoa, Tegan, why do we have ocean plants and corals? All right, well, literally next week we're learning about evolution. So I'm going to put that on the list. Evolution, yeah, because you're right, actually. I was really only going to look at animals evolving. And a coral is an animal, but I wasn't really going to look at it. I'll put plant and coral Evo on the board and just hope that I remember to talk about that. Yeah, very good point. My dad would love those mugs. Would he? Bella, not for the first time. Your dad's weird, isn't he? I mean, I say that in a joyful way. Would he? I mean, he can have them if he wants. I got matching sauces. All right, Jancy, Jay and Daisy and Daniel. Sorry, Bella's dad and I, we've got a bit of a we've got bants going, we've got banter. It's okay, it's fine. He likes it, he loves it. Probably, never met him. We just wanted to share some conkers that we've collected from the ground under our local horse chestnut tree. There's a bumper crop this year, it seems. Really, one case was so big it had triplets in it. Oh, do we need to do a Lego show about conkers? Do we? Can we? Can we? You can make soap out of conkers. Oh, maybe we do. Oh, let's do a Lego show about conkers. Let's do it. Look at these beauts. 3. Very nice. Should we do it? Okay, if you're out on your travels this week, can you have a look and see if there's any conkers and then collect them just in case? I think that would be good. Oh no, have I accidentally clicked the whole thing away? Oh no, I haven't. Okay, there we go. Oh, hello, Willow and Darcy. Hello, Neve. Hello. We've recently come back from the coast and have definitely been reminded how disgusting the ocean tastes. My dad was so excited about this. Oh, really? Oh, that's very sweet. Hello, Alex. Rona, thank you for coming. Like, seriously, thank you. Thank you for commenting as well. Hello, Deacon and Aria. Hello. We are amazed on your marmalade. Our homemade plum jam also has no life. Oh, no. What is it? This is so interesting. So elderberries, plums, and blackberries. There's just something about purple jam. It can't harbour life. Amazing. Hello, Hassan. Here is just in the middle of his... he's just in the middle of his open water scuba course. Hoping to dive in all the oceans one day. Well, now we know that they're all connected as World Ocean. You can just go in any bit of the ocean and technically say you've been in all of them. That's probably not what you mean. You probably mean like travelling around. That would be cool too. Hello, Zara. All right, pleased to see you. Not see you, it's creepy, but he did a salinity experiment with an egg. You can make it float, sink, or hover in the middle. Hello. I didn't know that, and that is a beautiful image. Wow. Okay. Clearly, I love pork badges. I have got a couple of good ideas from them. Hello, Joseph. You lot are ridiculously amazing. Joseph extracted salt in the summer from the Mediterranean Sea by drying out some water in a pan in the sun whilst on holiday in Greece. Of course he did. Of course he did. Why wouldn't you do that? That's amazing. Wow. Forgot to say hello from Bob. Hello, Bob. I mean, hello was implied, like with the beautiful picture of the egg floating. Joseph, that's amazing. What a brilliant idea. That's the kind of thing that I wouldn't do. And then I'd get home and then I'd wake up 3 nights later and be like, could have dried out some water from the Mediterranean Ocean. Very impressive, you lot. Okay, I'd better go, hadn't I, really? Oh, there's lots more comments, though. We've got to the bit where I start going, I've really got to go, because this Lego short story show about sleep in 24 minutes. I haven't set it up. I need to set it up. Guys, I've got to go. Stop being interesting. This is the bit where I start shouting that screen. Oh, it's Dexy. Hello, Lara. I love the lesson today. We made blackberry and elderberry jam too. I called the very last layer of the ocean the Hadal Zone, like the god of the underworld. Nice. Yes to Lego Shore about Conkers. Excellent, thank you. Saucers for the mugs too. Now we need a league shop. Like years ago. It's a charity shop. Seriously, I'll just send you them. I'll send you them. I've got a jug as well. I've got you a dress, haven't I? What do you actually want? I'm not just going to clutter out up your house, am I? Am I? If I'm not, you can just have them. Hello, Freya. Oh, it's Freya's first time joining. Freya, I'm so long it took me this long to say hello to you. Hello, Freya. Thank you so much for watching. Alda is very pleased you know the Hopscotch songs. He used to sing the Ocean song in his sleep when he was 6. It was finally replaced by the Dwarf Planet song and now it's Invertebrates. Wait, what? Are these Hopscotch songs? Are you a fan of Kids Learning Tube? Kids Learning Tube have a song about everything. It comes in really useful in biology when we're learning about the esophagus or amiospleen. You know what I mean? But if there's a Hopscotch song about dwarf planets and invertebrates, I need to go and find those out. Oh, Imogen, who is literally in Abu Dhabi, literally right now. Oh, Lottie is saying hello to you because they were born in Abu Dhabi. A lot of love for Abu Dhabi in the comments today. What a great question. Is there any visible difference between average salinity and the salinity in the Red Sea? That is a great question. I don't know if you can actually see the difference in the water between like the Red Sea and the Pacific Ocean. I don't know. Yeah, that's an excellent question. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's something about that on the internet. Hello, Sasha and Amelie. Loved the cringe song. Have you like, is that typo? I think your computer has auto-corrected awesome to cringe. The Jam Jar demo and the ice cream quiz. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Amelie and Sasha. That's basically the whole lesson there. Cringe song, pictures of ice cream, Jam Jar demo. Hello, Lottie. You wanted 3 scoops. I know, the problem is we have done this quiz once before and I just did all the best options. It was a cone with 3 scoops and sprinkles and sauce and a flake. And I thought, well, for the people who did that one a couple of modules ago, it can't always just be the best ice cream. So yeah, sorry about that. I did want to do 3 scoops. They were so excited to hear you shout them out. Hey, the Martin children want to show you their ice cream. Martin children, I wish to see this ice cream. Let's have a look. Oh, it's me. It's a picture of me. Oh, and I get to see the stickers on your computer. Nice. Oh, look at this. Okay, I'm using my powers of Sherlock Holmes observation to work out that there are 3 Martin children, or possibly more. Look at that. Come on. I can see lots of correct answers here. Lots of tubs with the 2 scoops, with the, oh yeah, you've done a little pattern like me. Nice, love it. I like the evenness of the sauce there. I want to eat that. Ah, yeah, but actually, I quite like the denseness of that sauce and the jaunty angle of the wafer. Nice work, you lot. I'm also just sort of having a little. Oh, look at that sticker! I want it. Those stickers are awesome. You can do it. Now, I should have checked that there weren't any swear words. What's that say? Now, drift how willy caterpillar you are. That's lovely. That is so inspiring. Guys, now drift how willy caterpillar you are. And a picture of flower. And a picture of me. But it's not my best moment. Right. I think we actually had properly better go, haven't we? Because it's 22 minutes. Oh, that's nice. Look, Dexy is saying hi to Lyra and Anu and Eli. Oh, you've got some really cute books that break down drawing ocean animals. That's what I need in my life. Thank you. Is that what you just messaged me? Thank you so much. Freya and Hannah, there's a reply on your comment. Oh yeah, it's your amazing ice cream. Okay, and there's Summer with their brilliant questions. All right, you lot, it looks like we've pretty much got to the end of the comments. So I better go. Because yes, if you want to learn about the sleep, about your brain and sleeping, then in 21 minutes time, I'm going to be back live again with a Lego story show activity story about sleep. So I need to go and reset that. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your awesome photos of stuff that you've been doing. Thank you for sending me actual cash money. If you want to receive these fabulous magazines and some rainbow glasses in the post, and mainly just receive all my thank yous, because clearly this is the best job ever and I literally couldn't do it without you, then do sign up, and I will see you all in about 20 minutes or next week.